The college baseball experience on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Kalshi. Make real money predicting sports. Kalshi is available in all 50 states, and you can get $20 free with the promo code SGPN. That is Kalshi, promo code SGPN. Welcome back into the college baseball experience. It is weekend number 4. We're doing some picks for Friday, March 6th, and giving out some insights for the entire weekend, including the 11.7 Pick'em contest. We've got a couple of talking topics on the slate today because, quite honestly, first off, my name is Noah Bieniek, a.k.a. Noah, or you can follow me at NoahB77_. I don't have a nickname with the SGPN and college experience world. And I'm joined today alongside the co-host of the baseball show for this season, JP Sponseller, former college baseball player of Cincinnati and Elon. How are we doing tonight, JP?
I'm pretty good. I am getting ready to actually be in person for my first college baseball game of the year tomorrow. So getting on a flight to Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. So I'm pretty fired up about that.
Were you able to get a direct flight from Denver to Myrtle?
So I was able to. I'm actually, since my dad's driving down and it was cheaper and worked out timing wise, I am flying into Charlotte. And then we're gonna drive the rest of the way. But back home it is direct from Myrtle to Denver. So
cool. Yeah, the thumbnail series of the weekend. It should be a good one. I thought it was maybe a little bit bigger in the preseason than what we've seen kind of transpire throughout the season. No knock on the series at all because I think it's the biggest series of the weekend. So, JP, I'm excited for you to be watching really solid ball on weekend 4 because there's not a whole lot of it out there today or this weekend. And that gets us to our first topic. What were you going to say?
No, I was say it actually, like, I didn't even realize this at the beginning of the year. Like we planned this trip in January, right after ABCA actually, and it just worked out perfectly that this is probably like the worst slate of the entire season
of the year,
other than maybe a couple series. So this is like a perfect one where I don't feel like I'm missing a whole lot, just being locked into one series for the whole weekend.
No, I don't think you're missing a whole lot either here. And the screenshot I've pulled up, or the college experience YouTube.com. Go give us a search, watch the episode. We've got the slideshow rolling. Gosh, this is the SEC Cupcake Week. This is week, 12 in college football season, where they play half the slate plays FCS, half of them play no competition group of 5 teams. This is your weekend in college baseball to tune into what we have on slide 3, which is the World Baseball Classic. But slide 2 real quick. Georgia hosting Queens, who's got a losing record. Alabama, who's hosting North Florida. Kentucky is hosting the Citadel. Vanderbilt hosting 1-11 North Dakota State. Florida hosting High Point. That's probably a tricky series, along with Tennessee hosting Wright State.
I was going to say that also just brings back the flashbacks of the Drew Gilbert walk-off and that whole regional. So, I mean, Wright State's always competitive. That one may actually be a little more fun than the rest of these.
Yeah, and then I'll group Stetson and Arkansas in that one as well. Who knows? Arkansas may just make it fun on their own with the way they've been hitting and playing on Friday nights. So, yeah, Stetson, good program last year. Lost a lot, but they can still pitch it. Missouri hosting UIC. The way that Mizzou plays any weekend can be an adventure. LSU plays Sacramento State. Oklahoma is going to be in game 2 in this series against Santa Clara this weekend on Friday. Ole Miss hosts Evansville. Evansville, formerly a super regional team back in 2024. Texas hosting South Carolina Upstate. again, maybe one of the better mid-majors here in this group of teams, but still, I don't think Texas is vulnerable here. Then you got Auburn hosting Winthrop, who's had a great start to the season, and Texas A&M hosting Oakland, who's had a terrible start to the season. So that is our SEC slate. When everybody talks about best conference in the world, this is what we're looking at. And a lot of the topic of conversation this week in college baseball has been, we need the product on television more because this is a great sport and it's an entertaining sport. And I heard, discourse on, what was the website? Either way, it's like, yeah, there's no load management in college baseball. That's not true. Look at weekend 4. Eric Bakich said the quiet part out loud, saying they're not pitching Aiden Canuck this week due to, kind of managing his workload and getting him through the entire season. JP, a lot there in that conversation. I'm just ranting and rambling on about how disappointed I am in the week of, college baseball games we've got this in weekend 4. Your thoughts on the entire, I don't know what to call it.
Yeah. I mean, for some of these games, I feel like most of these teams have at least played one team, either a series against one team that's very competitive and serviceable, or has played in one of these round robins where they're playing three teams that are very good. So I guess like I get it. I mean, you're about to go through a gauntlet until the end of May or June. In the SEC, and there's not really going to be a down weekend for anybody. But so I mean, I get it. You want to get one last weekend of getting everybody's confidence up a little bit. Hopefully, beat up on some teams and just feel good rolling into conference play. But like I said, I'm not letting it get me down this week with where I'm going to be. So
Yeah, you're going to be in baseball paradise, aka the Palace, for the best weekend series. People like me who won't be taking in college baseball live will tune into maybe more of the World Baseball Classic this weekend. Friday's got a loaded slate all throughout the entire day. You've got Japan at Chinese Taipei, or Japan's hosting it. They're playing Chinese Taipei at 5 a.m. Eastern on Friday, Cuba, Panama at 11 a.m., Netherlands, Venezuela at noon, Mexico, Great Britain, Puerto Rico, Colombia, Nicaragua, Dominican Republic, United States of America is playing Brazil at 8 p.m. Eastern. And then we've got the next day, but still at 10 p.m. Eastern, there is Chinese Taipei against Czech Republic. Saturday's loaded with 8 games. Sunday has a bunch of games as well. I think it's 7. I'm very much excited for the World Baseball Classic. We did a World Baseball Classic preview episode where I myself represented the college baseball experience. I was joined by Malcolm Bamford, who actually, JP, and for those that don't know, he lives in England and is the host of the MLB gambling podcast, but he's a perfect co-host of the World Baseball Classic. And we ran through, gave out some bets and some futures for the WBC this year. That is all still available, podcast platforms here on YouTube. My pick to win it was USA, but they're minus 115. My favorite bet was the Dominican Republic at plus 450. JP, do you have a favorite team in this year's World Baseball Classic?
I mean, I'm gonna be doing nothing but throwing on my red, white, and blue and cheering on the USA for sure. I didn't necessarily love putting anything at 115. I feel like you're gonna have the chance to maybe get them around 115 or close to it in one of the championship round potentially. So I might just hold out and wait for that. But yeah, I mean, obviously this is a great event. I'm so glad that they do this every few years, and yeah, it's kind of the only time other than the All-Star game, but like you feel like this means a little bit more to the guys than the All-Star game, and seeing just a bunch of different dudes from across the league playing together on the same team is very fun to watch.
Yeah. I think it's baseball at one of its purest forms that we'll ever see, both college baseball and the WBC. Speaking of college baseball and why it's kind of so exciting is you get to see some of these premier prospects along with young college stars that are MLB players. I mean, let's talk about Jack Caglione on Florida. This Jack Caglione on Italy. This Italy team is loaded with premier former college talent. Kyle Teal's the catcher. Jacob Marcy has emerged in the MLB as a star. He went to Central Michigan. Vinny Pasquantino, Old Dominion. Aaron Nola is the Friday guy, or AKA the ace. He went to LSU. Andrew Fisher is a bench bat for Italy this year, formerly of TCU and whatnot, Ole Miss, Duke. Dominic Canzone of Ohio State, Dylan DeLucia, Ole Miss, the ace that, led him to a national championship. This is one of the more exciting. You got Sam Antonacci from Coastal Carolina as well on this group. They're one of the more exciting teams that feature college talent, along with Israel, Harrison Bader, formerly of Florida, Ryan Prager, the ace from Texas A&M during the national championship runner-up team, is on the team as well, along with Jake Geloff, one of their big sticks, and Cole Carrig, who was a college star at San Diego State.
Also,
JP,
a former Elon Phoenix, one of my former teammates, Ben Simon, is representing Israel. And former Bearcat will be the manager once again, Kevin Youkilis. Will manage Team Israel. He's been doing that for the past few years. So
I did not know he was returning as the manager. That is great.
Yeah.
And any other teams that have caught your eye with just the amount of college stars maybe on them, or like one specifically?
Yeah, let me pull up that list I got again. Definitely Italy and Israel the most.
Yeah.
And then Enrique Bradfield from Vanderbilt is playing on Team Panama. Mason Miller, not everyone knows that he went to Gardner-Webb, but he did. And he will be playing for Team USA. And then Najer Victor for Great Britain. I actually played against him. He played at Florida Gulf Coast and then finished up at UCF. But other than that, I believe we covered all of the at least recent college players that I had on the list.
Yeah. Very much excited for WBC. Specifically, I can't wait for that Pool D in Miami and the absolute scenes that it's going to create there, as I'll work on pulling up the presentation once again with our slideshow. But yeah, the Pool D is one that I'm very excited for because of the talent. Dominican Republic, Venezuela, Netherlands, those three are always very, very good in these tournaments. I think plus 250 on that pool to end up winning the World Baseball Classic is not a bad play. The two teams, of course, that you have to worry about, though, are the United States and Japan. Go tune into that episode where we give out a bunch of different looks and picks for the WBC. And then we'll be back as games begin up in the quarterfinals, and the lines will appear a little bit sooner than they have been so far. And before we get into this week's best coin flip bettable games in college baseball in weekend 4, let me tell you all about what we've got going and brewing right now in the month of March for SGPN, because March Madness is here, and we're giving away $25,000 in Survivor Madness. The winner is taking all of the prize, all $25,000 guaranteed. Go over to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/survivor right now. That is sportsgamblingpodcast.com/survivor. And if you're new to Splash, use promo code SGPN play or promo code SGPN. And if you play $5, you will get $50 in bonus entries. A very, very cool deal and promo that they're running over there at Splash Sports, who were running this $25,000 guaranteed Survivor Madness pool through. And the college baseball experience is also brought to you by Kalshi, and they're a real money prediction market, legal in all 50 states. Kalshi has a ton of trading options for your favorite sports, and right now they have combos where you can combine 2 or more predictions to increase your payouts. Kalshi, you can trade anything over there. New Kalshi customers can get $20 when they use the promo code SGPN. That is Kalshi, KALSHI, promo code SGPN. And we are also brought to you by Rhythm. They have been on an absolute heater for college basketball and NBA picks. It's super easy to go over there and sign up. Run predictions off the house model, or you can make your own and play with the sliders, customize your own model. Rhythm works really well with Kalshi too. Looking to go premium? Question mark. Use promo code SGPN25 when you download the Rhythm app for 25% off your first month. Download Rhythm and use promo code SGPN25. It is the perfect month to use your 25% off when you have the NCAA tournament and March Madness right around the corner, and let it ride. All right, JP, we are back here on the College Baseball Experience. Myself, Noah Bieniek, and JP Sponseller going to go through some of the most coin flippy best games on the weekend for slate. There weren't a ton to pick from. We've only got, I think, 10 games on the card. I myself, well, first off, all the lines dropped late today. I was texting JP. I was like, maybe we can get an early show in. JP can hit the sack early, hit that morning flight out to Conway. And then the sports books had different ideas. Lines didn't come out till like 6:20, 6:30 today. So that's the reason for a little bit of a late start. And I still haven't even run through the entire slate of games that we have to pick. So I have no money line parlays for the end of the show when we get there. But first game that we're going to talk about is Middle Tennessee at UAB. And as you can see, I did not go out of my way to format the slides correctly. So we've got a 3-letter word in UAB, and the B is not even on the correct line. Hilarious. But that is a minus 160 price under UAB, and Middle Tennessee is plus 124. Pitching for Middle Tennessee is Gavin King, and going for UAB is Mason Steele. Now, JP, you've seen Mason Steele pitch through the television once against your Cincinnati Bearcats last weekend as well. They played in a great series against Jacksonville. They lost that start, but overall, they have pitched and played pretty well on Friday nights throughout the season with wins over Cincy, wins over Florida. Your thoughts on this matchup? And Mason Steele, is he going to be able to bounce back after last week's okay start in a loss there against the Dolphins?
Yeah, it's interesting because I actually thought that Mason Steele had pretty decent stuff. I mean, obviously his best start numbers wise on the year is against the Florida Gators. Obviously, that could have been just kind of an opening day jitter type of thing, or that he does have good stuff and his ERA is just a bit inflated. I actually think Jacksonville, I know we'll talk about them a little later, but I think they're going to be kind of a sneaky team. They're off to a really hot start. And I think that happened to just be them running in to a really hot team. This would be one. I mean, I'm on the Blazers here, or that's what they are, right? The Blazers.
Yeah.
UAB. Yep. I would maybe bet this if it was closer to like minus 120 or minus 130, but I don't know if I'm laying minus 160. But in a pick 'em, I am going with the Blazers here.
Yeah, I think my thought process on this game was a little bit the same. They're a little bit more battle tested with proven results against good competition on a Friday night that I'm able to put my confidence behind it in this pick. And UAB was my selection as well. Middle Tennessee, going into last weekend, they were playing Illinois State. It was one of the more competitive series on paper. And I didn't catch a whole lot of it, unfortunately, for myself, because it was good baseball. But I think the Blue Raiders could be game for this Friday night and series. But I will side with the more proven commodity right now in the Blazers.
I also think, I mean, their offense is not bad at all. I mean, they
Very
do a
good.
lot of things. They bunt well, they run the bases very well, and they got some gap to gap guys who can pop it out of the yard too. I don't know if it happened to be. I know the wind was blowing a lot the weekend since he was down there, but they hit the ball really well that weekend. and really
Yeah,
have all year.
they're top 50 in both WRC Plus and Sierra, which are advanced metrics for offense and defense for those that are curious. But it's still such a small sample size. But their competition that they've played is solid. So
Yeah.
I think they're the real deal. I haven't been able to really get my eyes on them and see if they pass the eye test. But I think MTSU is going to be a formidable opponent in Conference USA this year. Speaking of formidable opponents, let's get to Notre Dame. Oh shoot, it was not Notre Dame. Did I skip a game in our rundown here?
I don't think so.
I just misordered them. Okay, let's get to Notre Dame, and then we can get back because the sheet that we're working off of, I've got Notre Dame ahead. Notre Dame has shot up. So this line opened at a pick, -115 both ways, Notre Dame and Duke. The slide currently has -130. Right now, Notre Dame is -140 against Duke. Duke is +110. We've got proven starter and Jack Riddell going for the Fighting Irish on the season. He's pitched fantastically in 16 innings. They've managed his pitch count. He could have gone much deeper, and he's been dealing in the 3 outings he's had. He's got a 169 ERA with 24 strikeouts and 3 walks. And Aiden Weaver, who Duke is going to go with today, he's had a good start as well. Originally, they were having Henry Zetkowski go on Fridays. He's kind of lost that role, and Weaver's pitched well. He's got a 3.18 ERA in 17 innings with 22 Ks and 6 walks. Opponents are only hitting 180 against him. I think he's a starter. He's got a starter's repertoire and a good fastball to work off of. Weaver's a really interesting piece. Again, I'm siding with the Fighting Irish here. I think this is now getting to be priced right, just with the proven commodity again. I'm saying that 2 games in a row, but Jack Riddell's been there, done that already this season against good competition, whereas we haven't really seen Duke against a team quite like Notre Dame yet this year is my take. So JP, do you agree with that?
This one's really tough because yes, if everything that I look at in a pick here, I would side with Notre Dame. But you are talking about just when you look at history and the history of baseball, I know that this is a brand new Duke team and Duke roster. But if you're telling me that you could get the Blue Devils at +100 at home in the ACC opener, this one's just tough. I'd be willing, especially with as many people that love Notre Dame, I would be willing to go Duke here it could be a fluke win, call it what you want, like something crazy in the late innings. But I don't know. I had nothing that led me to pull the trigger really on Notre Dame. And then as soon as that line kept creeping and creeping, I just got further and further away from it. So I won't be betting this game. But in the pick'em, make it interesting, give me the Blue Devils.
There we go.
Fade the public. Going against the public.
I mentioned that competition, didn't know it off the top of my head, went and pulled it up. 4-game series over Maine, 4-game series over Milwaukee, 4-game series over Princeton. They're going to have to show me before I jump in with, Coach Corey Muscara. Yes, it's the home opener. It's also his first game as a head coach against an ACC foe. So we'll see how that goes.
I'd say their strongest win on the year is that midweek win over UNC Wilmington, 6-3. Other than that, I don't feel like they've been really tested much at all yet this year compared to Notre Dame, at least.
That would be where I basically price this game. I think -140 +110 is the correct price. Of the 10-ish games that we're talking about here, this is one of them that I feel a little bit better about, and I'm going to call this for the show a lock of mine, and I will be throwing it on the card. So I don't know if you're against me on betting Duke here, but for the music and the show, I will play Notre Dame here.
Yeah, I'll go Duke for the pick'em. It's never a great idea to fade Phoenix locks, but
there we go. And then game number 3, we're going to go back a slide, as I had the slides a little misordered there. We're heading down to Atlanta, Georgia, where it's the final season for the bus lot. And this is one of the better games of the day. Charleston Southern against Georgia State. This season, Georgia State has had quite a good start. They're 9-5. Charleston Southern's 10-2. Georgia State's got a couple of solid midweek wins. They had the one over, I believe it was Georgia Tech, and Charleston Southern on the year has a series win over your Elon Phoenix, where they swept them, swept Bucknell, swept Brown. They haven't lost a weekend game all season long. I don't think the competition's been as strong as they're gonna see in Georgia State here. We do have 2 TBAs for the starting pitchers, but both teams have had a solid Friday night guy throughout the season. Titus Von Kopf for Charleston Southern, Tyson Benford for Georgia State. JP, 2 teams that we haven't talked about yet throughout our shows. Do you have a good feel for this game, or who you want to take here?
Yeah, actually, can you show Crutch Bet's comment real quick? Most recent one. So Charleston Southern has been a wagon, and especially on the books too. They've been priced at this like minus 130 or plus 110 all season, and they're 10-2. Like you said, I don't think they've been really battle tested. The sweep over my Phoenix was a bit surprising. I haven't watched Elon a ton this year, but they had just been playing pretty good baseball going into that weekend. But I'm glad you brought up the bus lot, because we played here opening weekend at Georgia State my senior year, and this place sucks. I mean, there is nothing about it that's enjoyable. You get off the bus with shorts on, or like you got to change into your pant, and there's just nowhere to change. There's just nowhere to do anything. We actually got in a fight in game 2 and had to both teams forfeited the game. It's just a scrappy group in a scrappy place. And yeah, I'm riding with the Sun Belt Conference to stay hot here. And I actually might play this, but I'm going with Georgia State at home. And
how did the fight come about? Was it a guy sliding into second base, or was it a ball that was thrown at a hitter?
Yeah, so it was a double play. Dude obviously like went in hard, tried to break it up, and our second baseman at the time made the play. It was a tight, like 1-run ball game too. In the later innings, and this kid wasn't going to take any shit. Also kind of blacked out and like stood over him. Words were said, and then nothing like really actually like, I don't think any punches were ever seriously thrown, but it was like face to face, and then the benches cleared, and that's what, just because the NCAA rules, that's what kind of caused the game to end.
Yeah, we've seen that quite a bit in the last couple of years with the suspensions or the ejections after leaving a dugout or whatever.
That was the funny thing about the Sunday game too, is obviously we had 4 or 5 guys suspended for this game because we had to divide them up, and they're literally just like sitting on a hill in right field. Like there's just not really, they're trying to not be right around the parents, but it's just not a very great facility.
Yeah. They've had, speaking of the new facility that they're building on right now, they've had the land, the Hank Aaron Fulton County Stadium, the old one, and they're building on that. So that's where their new stadium is going to be. I can't wait. It's going to be right there in downtown Atlanta. It should be a pretty good setting. They're investing quite a bit of money into it.
That's actually where they let us shower after the Sunday game before we traveled home. So that was actually pretty cool, being able to like walk around in there, seeing all the old Brave stuff.
Very cool. So Tyson Benford, I think, is the better of the 2 starters that we're going to see. He was a reliever last year, one of their go-to closers for Georgia State. This season, he's 2-0 with a 2.25 ERA in 16 innings. He's got 15 Ks and 6 walks. And then Titus Von Kopf's gone great. He's thrown 14 innings. He's been hit around a little bit, and he's struggled with the walks. He's thrown a walk every 2 innings with 7 free passes and 14 frames, 10 strikeouts. Opponents are hitting 270 against them with a 5.25 Sierra. I think this is opportunity on Georgia State. That's where I'm going to point everybody here with the Panthers. And again, on this slate with not a ton of attractive games, this is one of my favorite bets of the day. So I'm going to play some music. You're on it too, JP?
I am on it as well. Yeah.
There we go. Yeah, I respect the start that Charleston Southern's had, but I'll ride with the Panthers in game one at the bus line.
Yeah, I'm also probably, I mean, we'll see. Like you said, there's not a ton to choose from, but I might absolutely just let it rip tomorrow, considering I will have no bets on Saturday and Sunday. So,
true. Yeah, over there in the Carolinas.
Yeah.
UNC Wilmington travels down to Jacksonville, Florida. Well, where they'll play the Dolphins here. Again, I apologize for the stupid formatting that the slides program does. And let me know if you like or dislike the slide background this week. Brand new, something that Colby whipped up with some AI, of course. But the white text for the teams and the team names, it had black outline. So it got removed there as well. I don't know what's going on, but we've got UNCW and Jacksonville doing some battle. Jacksonville's the dog after they've had an impressive start to the season. They're plus 114 here. Wilmington is minus 145. To be announced starters for both teams. They both had late midweeks this week, but pretty sure it's going to be Connor Marshburn, who's gone typically on Fridays for the Seahawks, and Alex Walsh, who's been the Friday night starter for Jacksonville all of this year. JP, we were talking about this game before the show. You told me that you liked one of these teams a little bit, right?
Yeah, I actually, this one is one of the games that stuck out to me to look for a total. I'm going to look at potentially the under here. I expect it to maybe be a little bit. Well, I'm curious to see what it's at because both pitchers have been pretty solid. What was the name of the Jacksonville kid?
Jacksonville's starter is Connor Marshburn.
I thought that was Wilmington's.
No, Wilmington. Yeah, sorry. Jacksonville's Alex Walsh. Wilmington is Marshburn. Marshburn's like a premier like fastball guy. He runs it up there in the high 90s. He's done well. They just haven't won his starts. They've lost all three. Maryland, Fordham, and UConn. They've lost on Friday night. Weird. But he's been a dude. Like all three games, low scoring. They just haven't hit.
No, and they always, I mean, this team always has a couple dudes on the mound. I remember playing against Landon Roop, now San Francisco Giant, I believe. He was nasty. They always have dudes. But Walsh has been absolutely lights out. I believe his ERA is at like a 0.7 or 8 or something. They've been really hot. This one, I would honestly lean towards Jacksonville at home. Plus money, but it scares me to actually bet just because I have a lot of respect for the Seahawks program and just kind of what you said. I mean, the Marshburn's been throwing well and they've lost every Friday. I just feel like they're kind of due to, they're due to kind of get him a win here at some point.
Yeah.
But so again, impressive last weekend. I think they actually maybe they may have lost, or no, they did lose this series to UAB. Didn't they? I think they won Friday, lost Saturday, Sunday. Yeah, that's right.
Wilmington's offense has been really poor for their standards so far this season. Jacksonville's hit really well, and I think they've played the slightly worse competition. This isn't the first time we've talked about these Dolphins on the show because I remember mentioning this. Like Rhode Island, A10 preseason favorite, they're winless right now. Long Island, NEC preseason favorite, they're winless right now. So I don't know if we at the Diamond Report were wrong on those two teams or they've just had really rough starts against good competition. But yeah, Jacksonville's looked really dominant on the mound, especially on Friday, where they've given up a total of just 5 runs on Friday all season long in 3 games. So I think that under is a great look, and that's something that I'll be looking for here on Friday morning as well.
Because the
game.
Dolphins have put up some runs too.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping that it will not be in like the 9-10 range. I'm hoping we can get it around 11 or 12, and then I'll jump all over it.
Yeah. Crutch saying he would take a shot with the Dolphins. UNCW doesn't move the needle for him there.
Oh,
And then Fields.
do I need a pick for the pick'em?
We'll talk about that at the end. I think this series is on it. So we're doing the 11.7
Okay.
pick 'em at the end there.
I
And
didn't know
then
for our websites. My fault.
no, we're good. I'll show you how to do that after the show. Actually, that's what I forgot to mention prior.
Okay.
Yeah, Fuels Madman says I used to park in that lot growing up at games at Turner, the old Fulton County Stadium site. So, yeah, looking forward to Georgia State and the new building coming up. Let's hit an ad before the biggest series of the weekend here. How about that?
Sounds good.
We will talk about Underdog Fantasy right now, as they have you covered for Pick'em in almost every sport. Underdog right now has increased their payouts. 2 pick entries now pay 3.5x your entry. 3 pick entries pay 6.5 times the money that you put on entry. Underdog's got a brand new offer for new customers. You could play just $5 and get $75 in bonus funds when you sign up with the code SGPN. And the college baseball experience is also brought to you by NoVig. NoVig is America's #1 sports prediction market, and NoVig, you're getting the best prices. Download the NoVig app today and get $50 when you spend just $5 if you use the promo code SGPN. Get in on the action today with NoVig promo code SGPN. And I also have breaking news for everybody. We have Merch Madness going on right now. Merch Madness is awesome. Merch Madness is great. Over there at sportsgamblingpodcast.com/store, you can get 15% off all of your orders with the promo code MARCH. There is something over there that is for everybody. For those loyal college baseball experience listeners, we've got TCE baseball merch, sweatshirts, shirts, hats, and a bunch of different colors and sizes for everybody to enjoy. Also, plenty of college basketball and March Madness themed merch, including our branded and coined first half unders that have been pretty automatic for SGPN throughout the entity's time. So get over there and get some merch right before March Madness for you guys. Use the promo code MARCH for 15% off all of your orders. And we are back here on the college baseball experience. That gets us to the biggest series of the weekend. That is when the East Carolina Pirates travel down to Conway, South Carolina, to play Coastal Carolina. The Pirates are plus 114. Chanticleers are minus 145. By the way, when I was listening to the Houston, broadcast or whatever the local broadcast was, once again, pronouncing it Chanticleers. So, Coach Schnall's message was not heard by the entire world. It still needs to get out there. But the Chanticleers hosting the biggest series of the weekend. JP, lead us off with the analysis that everybody needs to know about this.
Yeah, I mean, regardless of Cam Flukie being out, you're going to see what I think to be a prime pitcher's duel tomorrow. Ethan Norby, even though he is 1-2 on the year and has had a couple shaky starts, I could just see this being a big time spot where he walks into this game with a lot of confidence after absolutely shoving against Coastal last year, which that was kind of his coming out party game that like really put his name on the map, and he caught fire for the rest of the year. So I expect him to kind of re-get some of that confidence and energy back. And then we got Luke Bones Jones filling in the Friday spot for the Shants. He's got really, really good stuff. He's had 3 solid starts, nothing that like will blow your socks off numbers wise, but I thought he held his own very, very well against Texas last week. Really, outside of a couple solo homers, he pitched really, really well. I mean, he borderline went toe to toe with Ruger Riojas was something else that night, but kept them in that ball game for 5 to 6 innings, and
he did.
both of these lineups have been struggling. I'd say
Yeah.
I do think you can say that East Carolina maybe caught a spark in that big win against North Carolina on Saturday. I know they've dropped a game or two since then. And then I feel like this Coastal team being able to respond on Sunday in Houston and beat Ole Miss and hold that team to 2 or 3 runs on a Sunday and then also get the offense going to put up 9. I think that was kind of a huge jolt for them. And then was very competitive in that midweek with NC State, lost a 1 or 2 run game. So I feel like both of these teams are maybe kind of starting to get back on track. I'm definitely looking for an under here. I feel like it's going to be priced at like 9.5, but we'll see. I still might take it anyway, but I don't know about you, but anytime I go in person for a game, I have to bet it, and I really like to bet it big. And yeah, I'm all over the shots tomorrow. I'm hammering them. I think this is just a statement weekend that kind of needs to get them back on track for going into this Sun Belt schedule, which is looking to be very tough for the rest of the Sun Belt, the way they've been playing early on.
Yeah, I saw that teal Omaha hat, and I was wondering if that was the way you were going for this one. Um, I'm gonna retweet a lot of what you said there. Love the underlook in this one with ECU and CCU's offenses both not looking as strong to start the season. I thought Coastal Carolinas was definitely going to be much better than it's been so far. But to your point, Saturday night, they were getting blown out by UTSA. They, in the later innings, were able to tally 10
Yeah,
and kind of woke up there, and that carried over to that Ole Miss game where they blew out the Rebs. Hopefully that the offense woke up a little bit there because they're going to need to. Without the uh, top of the line starting pitching that they've lost due to injury. All 4 of their top arms still projected not to throw this weekend. Ryan Lynch, one of their relievers, is probably the closest to being back, but still not there necessarily. But Luke Jones, you mentioned him. He's been under the radar for quite some time now. Last year as a freshman was a stellar midweek starting pitcher who just really limited hard contact very well. And he's done the same thing this year. He's been touched up a little bit more than normal, but they played better competition in the conference this year.
yeah.
And he's got more strikeouts than innings tossed, which was not the case last season. So I think he's added a little bit of an element of swing and miss to his game. And then we know that Ethan Norby is an even better arm than what he's shown. And yeah, in 13 innings, he's got 20 strikeouts and only 3 walks. He's just been touched up a little bit this year. And as he gets into conference play, I think he'll be able to correct and miss a little bit more bats. But this weekend is going to be interesting. I think you're on the right side with Coastal as well. I think they end up winning the series. This is another one that's on the 11.7 pick'em contest. I'll take the shots here, but the under is worth the look. Anything else you want to add before we move on from the game?
No, we can get through this and maybe add a couple more thoughts when we talk about them for the pick'em as
Cool.
far as series goes.
Cool deal. We'll jump over to Maryland and Troy. Both of these teams really need this weekend, is what I really wanted to get off my chest early here. Maryland enters this game as a plus 114 dog, Troy minus 145. Maryland is going with the East Carolina transfer. Speaking of the Pirates, Lance Williams will be on the bump for the Terps, and Tommy Egan, the UIC transfer, will go for the Trojans. Lance Williams this season's been okay. He's tallied up the strikeouts, but has also struggled somewhat to throw strikes, and he's been touched up a bit too. Opponents are hitting 300 against him. He's got a 6 ERA with 20 strikeouts in 13 innings with 8 walks. Tommy Egan has been much better at limiting contact against him, and he's been one of the better strike throwers on this Troy team so far. Opponents are only hitting 173 against him, 20 strikeouts, 5 walks in 15 innings. Yeah, both of these teams need this like blood. JP, your thoughts? Who's your pick in the Friday night game?
Yeah, this one, I mean, like you said, this one's really scary because I feel like it's going to be a dogfight, and both of these teams feel like they need to win this game and this series. I'd say Maryland maybe has shown you a little bit more to this point. Maybe not though. I mean, Troy, they really struggled pitching wise the week one against Mercer, and then you look back to last week and they honestly pitched it pretty well, just couldn't really get the bats going. Yeah, I think there were high expectations for Troy going into this season, maybe a little bit more than Maryland. I'd side with the Trojans to get back on track here at home. But yeah, again, this is one that I'm just gonna stay away from because I don't think either team has just shown you enough to put any hard-earned money on.
Yeah, Troy really swung it awfully last weekend in the Keith LeClaire Classic there. They lost outright to Western Carolina, then lost the Saturday night game to East Carolina, knocked off Rutgers in a Sunday slugfest 2-1.
Yeah.
What a joke there. But yeah, so Troy, they're really scuffling and they haven't been able to find any consistency, like you mentioned. On some days they're hitting it well and not pitching it well. On some days they're pitching it great and not hitting it really at all. I'm going to side with the plus money. That's where I'll take you on this game because I really don't have a great feel. Got no conviction behind the pick, but it's one of the better games, one of the better series of the weekend. Give me the Terps at plus 114 Friday night here. Next one on the slate for us to talk about today is Louisiana Tech at South Alabama. We talked about both of these teams last weekend, and South Alabama continues to kind of roll, whereas Louisiana Tech fell flat on their face in their biggest test of the season, getting swept at home against Southern Miss, and South Alabama continues to just play very well. Sorry, they were 2 weeks ago when we mentioned them against Charleston.
Mm-hmm.
They won that Friday night game that we picked. I was on the Cougars.
We all faded them. Yeah.
They won 16-2 in that matchup. So big time pie in the face on us. But overall, they've played super well. Upstate, Charleston, West Georgia have won all those series. Louisiana Tech looking to respond after a week that came from absolute hell and against good competition. Two Sunbelt teams that I've projected top 4 finishers in that league. Lost 3 straight to Southern Miss, add 2 more losses in the midweek via blowout to Arkansas State. And this offense, I think, is ready to explode if they get the chance. But I don't know if Declan Dahl is going to give them that chance. If Mitchell here is going to give them that chance. Mitchell here, the starting pitcher for South Alabama, he was one of their best relievers last season. He battled a back injury throughout, I think it was the first 2.5, 3 months of the year, and still pitched great. And he's been off to a really good start this season. Declan Dahl has been the best arm for Louisiana Tech as well. He gave him a chance to win that Friday game against Southern Miss. The rest of the weekend was a rough showing for the Bulldogs. But on the season, Dahl, 15 innings, 18 strikeouts, just 3 walks. I think that this is a game that I'm once again somewhat looking at a Louisiana Tech bounce back against South Bama, but I'm not betting it. I would be crazy to be betting it. But I think Louisiana Tech more motivated, needs it more back up against the wall in this matchup. JP, are you in agreement there, or are you saying you're an idiot?
Yeah, and I am betting it actually.
Oh, there we go.
So South Alabama has been a team that I've actually wasn't high on at all coming into the year, but have been following and particularly high on. I think they can swing the bats really well, and they can hit, and they've like what you said, handled some good competition. For me, this is just a perfect spot where you kind of buy low, sell high, in my opinion. Yeah. You have a very hot South Alabama team, and then a team that literally just before last weekend was thought of to be very highly regarded in La Tech, who ran into, at the time, maybe the hottest team in the country in Southern
Yeah.
Miss. And then Arkansas State, who's proven that they're solid and taken down Arkansas a week prior. I actually am going to get on La Tech here to respond. They've been home for 5 games, 5-game losing streak. These guys
Yeah.
just need to get the hell out of town at this point, and I think that might get a little weight off their shoulders. Like you said, Declan Dowell has been shoving. I mean, he wasn't really the reason that they lost last Friday. He
No.
kept them in that ball game. So um, I like South Alabama because the bats, and I think they might run into a buzzsaw tonight or tomorrow night. Maybe the first. I mean, maybe the best arm they've seen all year. I don't know. Like you could say that. I know they've faced some pretty good arms, but I don't know. I just think this La Tech team is going to be ready to respond, and that will be on my card. La Tech money line plus
Yeah,
100.
that's not a bad shout. Dahl could be the best arm they faced all year. Um,
Verdict's still out on that.
yeah. But I totally I can see exactly what you're saying there. And this is something that Moneyline Mac on the basketball show would call a foxhole spot. Lose a couple of home games in a row, hit the road, back up against the wall. JP's locking up these Diamond Dogs.
Let's go, baby.
Looking at the chat here, Noah, are your unit sizes typically similar for baseball than what you do basketball? Yeah, I mean, my unit is same size and everything, but I think I spread it more on baseball just because I feel like I have a better read, and I know that information's so tough to find. So I do very similar work to anybody that's trading it. So I feel more confident in that. Um, we'll hit the next game here because this is also a really good one. And Southland Conference play is underway. They got off to a weekend number 3 start in the Southland, and UT Rio Grande got their asses handed to them by Lamar. Got swept on the road down there at Beaumont, Texas. Now they're opening up their home slate in conference play against New Orleans, who won the Louisiana side of the bracket in the Southland tournament last season. For the starting pitcher for UT Rio Grande or Rio Grande Valley is Sergio Lopez, who is one of the best relievers in the league last year for McNeese. So right down the road there in Lake Charles from New Orleans, they've seen this guy before. And Lopez has been okay, not great. He's missed, you know, not many bats. He's got a 12 ERA and 11 runs given up in 8 innings. But the underlying advanced numbers are a little bit better on him. And he was great last year as a reliever. Hasn't been the smoothest transition into his starting pitcher this year. Whereas William Andrade is a freshman Friday night starter for New Orleans. He's struggled a little bit throwing strikes, but teams haven't really been able to square him up. A little bit effectively wild. He's got a 154 ERA and 225 batting average against. But the thing here is I haven't really seen New Orleans play super tough competition this season, whereas Rio Grande has challenged themselves each and every weekend. And I think I have a little bit more faith in the Vaqueros than I do the Privateers in this matchup. As New Orleans, they've faced Georgia State in the weekend series. They got swept there. They played against Alabama A&M, Northern Kentucky, and ULM in a weekend tournament. Went 1-2 with the only win against NKU. I mean, they lost to Monroe and Bama A&M, and the following weekend they lost their opening series at home against Stephen F. Austin, and the kind of jury's still out on the Lumberjacks this year for me, in my opinion, too. So I'm taking the Vaqueros here. The price is a little too rich, a little too steep for me, especially with Lopez on the bump. But I think it's a bounce back weekend for UTRGV, and they win it big. JP, your thoughts?
Yeah, I am in total agreement here. I could maybe add this to a parlay piece or something, but Yeah, the Vaqueros, they actually set their attendance record in a midweek
Yeah.
a week or two ago. I think they're going to have a pretty rocking crowd here this weekend. I don't really know a whole lot about New Orleans baseball other than just like ruining my life in midweek bets. They're just known for like dominating midweeks, especially like literally they beat Tulane. I saw so many people bet Tulane, and they must have not looked at the history because I was a year early, I guess, because I remember betting Tulane last year, and then like I looked back at the betting history, and New Orleans just always beats them in midweeks. But yeah, I'm going with the Vaqueros here at home, bounce back week.
To your point, UNO, a perfect 4-0 in midweeks this season.
Yeah, they're midweek demons.
That's
Yeah, how many
awesome.
wins do they have total? Two, five, six? Yeah,
They got 6, and 4 of them are on midweeks.
yeah.
That's fantastic. The next game on our slate that we're going to touch on is a fascinating one. We have not covered Cal in a series yet this year. They've played quality competition up until this point. We've talked about San Diego a bunch, actually. I think they've been featured in every weekend so
Yeah.
far. And I've had eyes on this team, and I still don't have a good feel on them. They got ran off the field a couple times to Michigan last weekend. But the one game they didn't really get ran off the field in was on Friday night with Diego Gutierrez on the bump for these Toreros. He's been formidable as a Friday night starter, not one of the ones that you're rushing to the window to back necessarily, but he's been good. And then Oliver De La Torre is a power conference transfer that I've been keeping my eye on with the Golden Bears. I believe it began his career at Texas, if I'm not mistaken. And he's found his way into pitching really solid so far throughout the season. In 13 innings, he's got 19 strikeouts and 3 walks with a 2.08 ERA. And Cal has played solid competition to this point. They're 9 and
Mhm.
3, and they've played weekend series against Santa Clara, UC Irvine, and Sacramento State, and they've won all of them. So I think the Golden Bears are kind of the rightful favorite in this game. I haven't mentioned the odds yet. They're minus 145 against the Toreros, plus 114. JP, do you have a better feel on the Toreros than I do right now?
No, because I was on them early and then riding them, and then yeah, they had a terrible week. Yeah, I have no feel for them. They're kind of all over the place. Where I feel like Cal has been definitely more of the consistent team. Obviously, UC Irvine series win. They just had a big weekend last week. They're going to be a solid team, and then Santa Clara. That's a solid program, solid team, and series
Yeah.
split with them. Um, I'd go with Cal here. I haven't watched either of these teams particularly much at all, and I think San Diego does scare me enough to stay away. Also, Cal only has one win on a Friday so far, and that was a 5-4 win over Sac State, which is
Okay.
not
Yeah, and
um,
San Diego 3-0 on Friday.
right. So that's where it kind of like I'm staying away, but I do just on paper I like Cal.
Yeah, the Toreros. I have watched, I think, 6 or 7 Torero games this year of the 11 that they've played. They're a different team every night, dude.
Yeah.
It's a really tough read for me right now. I'll take the plus money again with San Diego, and especially with Cal and the losing record. Like Oliver De La Torre pitched great. They have a losing record in his games, though, surprisingly. So I'll take the Toreros there. And then we finish up on the island because it's a hard ticket to get to Manoa and the Hawaiian Islands down there. Cal Poly is the first one to make that West Coast trip from the Big West, and we've got a stellar pitching matchup to finish off the day. Griffin Ness and Isaiah Magdaleno are two proven Friday night stars. The Bows are minus 154 favorites against Cal Poly plus 120. Personally, in the preseason, I favored Cal Poly a little bit more than I did Hawaii. And that was a lot due to just so many new pieces on the Rainbow Warriors squad. And Cal Poly had the best offense last year. They returned a bunch of pitching, including Ness, who's been great. And Magdalena's been right there with them. A 2.79 ERA for the Hawaiian Star, 25 strikeouts, 6 walks in 19.1 innings. Opponents have a sub 150 batting average against them. JP, what do you got on Griffin Ness and Cal Poly? Do you like them at plus money here against Hawaii on the island?
So this one, I mean, obviously, what ended up happening in that series with USC? Was that a full sweep?
Yeah, they got full swept. They put up a good fight in the 4th game, took it to extras. They
Yeah.
also took the 1st game to extras in 0-0 12th inning or whatever it was. But they were getting no hit through 9. So
Yeah.
um,
I think runs were hard to come by last weekend for them, and it's correct me if I'm wrong, but it's been a little bit of a similar trend on the island, and I'm definitely going to be looking to play an under here. I do think it'll probably be set at like a 9.5, pretty low price. So I would look to take that. But yeah, I'm always gonna side with. I mean, anytime Hawaii is in a pick'em like this on a Friday night, give me the Manoa Magic. I'm really close to. I don't know if you saw my tweet about they put out like some Manoa Magic shirts
yeah.
online. They're like $50 for a cotton T-shirt. It looks like, but I'm getting pretty close to pulling the trigger on one. If they keep cashing, I'm gonna just roll that money over into Hawaii Athletics website and get a Manoa Magic shirt.
Speaking of that Hawaii Athletics website, so I pulled it up looking for the pictures, just doing my due diligence. I knew that it was going to be Ness and Magdaleno, but I still needed to check for the show. Dude, they announced today that the senior weekend series, so the final weekend of the year, they're playing Cal State Northridge. The weekend series is not on the weekend. It's going to be, they moved it up from Friday through Sunday to Wednesday through Friday. And they did it for travel accommodations to Northridge, but you're playing the weekend prior. You got the Big West tournament afterwards. There's no way these teams are throwing Magdaleno on a Wednesday or Thursday in that series. It's pretty interesting.
Yeah, I mean, you'd have to either just
they're
'cause
throwing a midweek
usually
starter at
every
least one.
oh, for sure. But I can remember like in the American, we had always moved up that last
You
series
would move
Thursday,
up
Friday,
to
Saturday.
Thursday. Yeah. And
Um,
that's somewhat normal across the country, but
right.
to Wednesday through Friday is different.
Yeah, like I feel like that you're gonna have to throw a midweek starter on that Wednesday for sure.
Yeah. 357 coming in here tipping $2. He says, Noah, how do we bet the WBC? I would be betting a lot of overs after today. A lot of the smaller countries they're going to throw their best starters today in their first game, their ace. And then afterwards, I think the offenses will feast against the depth pitching from especially some of the smaller countries. I'd be looking at a lot of overs in the WBC, but listen to the WBC preview episode. It's on the YouTube channel here and the MLB Gambling Podcast YouTube channel, along with the podcast feed as well. My pick for this game, I'm going Cal Poly with the plus money on the island. Still nervous about the travel in game one in that, and I think the under is the best look with both of these studs going. I'd be bullish enough to probably take it at 8, under
Yeah.
8. You look at the games on the island, only 2 games have gone over 8 runs. One of them was a Friday night against Ball State. It was technically the second game of the series, and Magdaleno didn't go. It was their number 2, who's been fantastic so far this season, and his name is slipping my mind. But Cal Poly's also really struggled to put up runs against teams number 1s, and they have not in their games. About half of them haven't crossed the number 8. Hawaii should be able to keep it low scoring. All arms on deck here in game 1 of the series. I like that under a lot too. But yeah, Cal Poly is my pick there. Let's talk the Cambria College Classic real quick. And I wouldn't blame you if you have not caught many or any of these teams yet this year. But let's just get a pick and one team that you're excited to watch this weekend. If for those that are unfamiliar with the Cambria College Classic, because they did not play this tournament last year, this is a 16 team tournament played inside the Minnesota Vikings football stadium. So right field's about 280 and 15 feet high. There was a video of a pop-up last Friday going into the third deck for a home run in this thing. So it's a left-handed slugger's paradise, JP.
Yeah.
Very jealous of those lefties that get to just hit a pop-up for a 300-foot bomb. But very entertaining, fun games to watch here down in Minneapolis, Minnesota. The 6 teams are Minnesota, Northwestern, UNLV, and then Omaha, Southern Illinois, South Dakota State. For me, I'll begin it with my team to go 3-0. I'll take the home team in the Golden Gophers. I think they'll go 3-0. They've had a nice start to the season. And the team to watch for me is Northwestern. They've added over the last 2 years, I believe it's 8 power conference transfers to a program that has not had a lot of recent success. I think Ben Greenspan is doing a formidable job so far as head coach over there for the Wildcats. And their shortstop, Kacharik, is a LSU transfer, absolute star. They've got Jack Lausch, the former quarterback for Northwestern, playing in the outfield. And there's another name. His first name is escaping me, but Jackson's been off to a scorching hot start with the Sticks. So Northwestern's my team to watch. I know I just took the 2 power conference teams in the 6-team field that only has 2, but that's where I'll point everybody. JP, are you more of the same? Or are you interested in one of the mid majors here?
Yeah, so I'm kind of back and forth on who my pick to win it is. I would usually side with the home team and who I believe to maybe be the most talented team in Minnesota. But one team I'm really excited to watch is UNLV, and I really think the way they match up against Minnesota on a Friday gives them a good chance to go 3-0 as well. Yeah, hell yeah, crutch bets. There we go. But no, they've played some decent competition to start this year. We talked about Santa Clara; they have a series win over them, and then
Austin Peay
swept
split.
Bradley and split with Austin Peay. Let me pull up.
They can really swing it.
Yeah, they
UNLV.
can swing it, and then if I can pull. Carson Lane is who they've been throwing on Fridays. Okay, it looks like he maybe had a good start against Austin Peay and then has not had a great start since. But yeah, so we'll see. But I think they've been playing some good ball. I watched them last year when the Bearcats went out for a 4-game series, and they're just a pretty solid team. I think they have a good chance to be pretty competitive this weekend.
All righty. That's the Cambria College Classic. And yeah, those games will be available on streaming. And that gets us to the 11.7 Pick'em and Survivor. And typically I've got these things highlighted and filled in on my picks throughout, every week on this show. But as you can see with the screenshot on this, I have not gotten to my picks yet. Louisiana and Dallas Baptist are the first series for this one. Do we have the series correct? DBU's the home team?
Yes.
All right. So, yeah, my pick's going to be the Dallas Bombers. Then Louisiana has had a hell of a week at the Teague for what it's worth. They won the series against UC San Diego. They lost Friday night, reverse swept them. And then they defeated LSU on Wednesday at the Teague. An awesome win. But I think they come down a little bit from that high with Dallas Baptist here on the road. DBU, rare loss in the midweek to Oklahoma. They just own the Sooners in midweeks, and I bet them they didn't score a run. I think the offense responds on Friday night. I think the Patriots, the Pats, win this series here. JP, do you agree?
I don't. This is really tough for me to go against the Patriots, which kind of feels like a get right, get back spot at home. But I'm going to ride these hot Raging Cajuns, man. And I know we didn't bring it up on the card, but this line actually opened at like minus 200 to DBU and plus 190 to Louisiana. And by the time I could even get my hands on it, it was at plus 150. And I will be on it as well. Let me look up. or the name, whoever Louisiana, the dude who threw on Saturday for them against UC San Diego, he had an unbelievable line, unbelievable game. They bumped him up to throw this Friday
Herman,
game tomorrow.
Andrew Herman.
Yep, they bumped him up to Friday, and I know the DBU pitching rotation and situation is still
Yeah.
just kind of a toss up, and they're counting on their bats. So I'm gonna ride with the hot Cajuns team, who may have things a little bit more figured out on the pitching
Yeah,
side.
no, Herman's been stellar in his Louisiana career. This is his third year as a starting pitcher for them. He's a grad senior. He's made 27 starts downing the Lou de Cre, or whatever they call the French symbol there. Opponents are it's sub one, JP. What's the opponent batting average off the top of your head? Sub one.
Wow. Wait, what were you asking?
Take a guess at where his opponent's batting average is at right now, and it's sub 100.
For the
Yeah.
season? 6-7.
There you go. Nice guess. 81.81 is his opponent's batting average. He's got a 133 ERA in 20 innings.
It's not bad.
Not bad at all.
Not bad.
0.81's more strikeouts than I had in my college career as a pitcher. I will land on DBU in that one though. Next series is Florida Gulf Coast at Bethune-Cookman, and this is Bethune's biggest weekend series test of the season. It's a team that I think I'm relatively bullish on, and I know that 11.7 we were as well too. We haven't seen them face great competition in the midweek. Bradley was their opening weekend series, and then they played a 4-game series against Delaware State. That's not going to win anybody over, but I'll tell you what would is a Friday night win against Jack Oman in Yale. And that's what is carrying Bethune-Cookman and like my value and perception of them so far. They needed a three-run ninth to walk it off and win the game by 2, but still, they managed the storm against one of the best arms in the country from the Yale Bulldogs, and they were able to pull that thing away. They're going to need to do the same thing on Friday night against one of the best arms in the country in Evan Dempsey for Florida Gulf Coast, and they've played slightly better competition. North Dakota State and Stonehill aren't much better, but BC is Boston College. So this is a real coin flippy series. I'm going to take Bethune-Cookman. They're a roster that I liked a little bit better with Andre Martinez, and they've got 2 really good starting pitchers. One of them is actually pitching this weekend in the WBC, as my memory spins it out. Again, didn't prep for this too much, but shoot, now I'm rethinking this. JP, what's your pick in this series?
Yeah, this is a Ben Upton pick for me, and I'm riding Bethune-Cookman. I placed a future on them to make it to Omaha as soon as I watched your guys' show. Gulf Coast also, like, they've been playing really well. A lot of it at home, I believe. I don't know if they've even left home yet.
Their one road game was at UCF this midweek. They lost 12-5.
Yeah, so I'm going with Bethune-Cookman. You said it. They saddled up against a really good Friday guy last week, and I think they're ready to do it again. And yeah, that's my pick.
Yeah, and then that gets us to the biggest weekend series of weekend 4. You're going to be in the house at the Palace for this one. My pick's Coastal Carolina. Tell me why I'm right or wrong, JP.
Yeah, I'll tell you why you're right, and people are going to tell you you're wrong because of the pitching deficiencies or injuries. And I'll just say that, one, I think this is one of the best pitching coaches in the entire country in Matt Williams, and this is also just one of the deepest staffs in general. I mean, you've already seen it. Like, you've seen some guys get hit around, but they bring in freshman after freshman and new guy after new guy that has really, really good stuff and is very competitive. So I just don't – I still think that their pitching staff where it's at right now is still deeper and better than East Carolina's. And They're at home. They need some momentum and they need a get right series. And I think this is it. They got that regional matchup from last year. And I think they're going to be fired up in Conway. I certainly am going to be. And I'm gonna help try to wake up, or I guess continue to wake up the Sean's bats this weekend a
There
little
we
bit.
go. The next series is Murray State at UCF. Tons of credit I want to give to UCF scheduling this weekend series. First off, I know from firsthand sourcing that Murray State did not get a ton of teams that were willing to put them on the schedule this year in non-conference, as evidenced by their opponents' 5 total wins. Their 3 weekend opponents so far this season, Ohio, Butler, and Mercyhurst, are combined 5-25. And with that said, I just don't think that Murray's really been challenged yet. They returned only 2 bats from the lineup that was red hot to finish the year. That's what everybody fell in love with on that Racers team last season. But what a lot of people somewhat forgot was that it was the best pitching staff in the Missouri Valley last year, and they returned all but Isaac Silva, the Saturday starter, from that pitching staff. They've pitched it quite well to begin the year. A couple of games have gotten away from them, but overall, they've really managed to keep some games low scoring. I think that UCF just cannot afford a series loss here. This is a surprising one that Ben and Dimitri included in the 11.7 weekend series and Survivor this week. I think this is going to be your biggest Survivor pick, probably 90% plus on UCF, and I just don't disagree. Last weekend, they lost a close series to USF, where they lost the Saturday game 2-1, one Saturday 2-1, kind of got ran off the field on Friday, but they just desperately need a weekend win as they go into Big 12 play. This is a nice tune-up for them, and I give them credit for scheduling them. Give me the Knights to win the series, JP.
Yeah, props to you, by the way, by picking the Bulls last week to
Yeah,
go in Orlando and win that series. That was a hell of a
no
pick.
conviction behind it. I was just like, Mitch Hannes is going to have the boys ready, and he did.
Yeah, no, I mean, and it may have fell off a little bit, but when I was in the American a few years ago, that was always just a dogfight series. I mean, it was always super competitive. So I think that's one where you can kind of throw everything on paper out the window. But Murray State also, I don't even know where they're practicing. I know their field turf isn't even done yet.
It's an
They had
NAI school like 15 minutes down the road in Kentucky. I forget the name of it, but they
okay.
have been
I know
using
they
some
had
recently.
to yeah, they've been playing at Trevecca Nazarene at my brother's
Oh,
field
that's
because
where it
I
was?
know, Lee's been getting together with Skirka a little bit, and they do a Bible study together. So
Oh,
they
very
they
cool.
got together last weekend. But yeah, I'm going with the Knights to bounce back strong this weekend at home. Just a get right series for them. I don't need to repeat majority of what you said. We're in agreement
I'll
here.
let you have the lead on this one. Virginia, North Carolina. I have my pick. I feel pretty confident in this series. JP, how about you?
I think I have to go. I'm going with the Tar Heels at home. I really like the pitchers. Jason DeCaro was my ACC Pitcher of the Year pick, and I think he's living up to that right now. Um, and Virginia, they've been playing really well and really swinging it. But when you play against the Tar Heels at the Bosch, it's just, don't get me wrong, some runs can be scored, but in a good series, it's just typically not a slugfest. And it feels like Virginia right now matches up better with like a Georgia Tech in a slugfest series. And I'm going with the Tar Heels at the Bosch here. I do think this might be a little bit mispriced though. I think UNC is at like minus 250 or something, which may be a little bit disrespectful, but I guess we'll find out.
Yeah. My pick, and I feel pretty confident in it, is North Carolina. I know I'm an idiot for saying that Duke was throwing Henry Zetkowski as their Friday guy. That's just I got it confused with he's a Friday guy for Virginia. Hasn't been off to the greatest start. Neither has much of their pitching staff, actually. They've gotten hit around by inferior competition up until this point. And North Carolina's got an experienced lineup. They've got one of the best pitching staffs in all of the country, especially the ACC. At home, ACC home opener in the series. I like North Carolina a lot. Outside of UCF, this would be my second most confident pick of the week. And that leaves us off with the mid-major series down there in Texas between Rice and Abilene Christian. Abilene Christian this season's 7-6. Rice also 7-6. Rice has played the better competition to this point. Hosted Northwestern in a series, hit the road to UCF, or speaking of UCF, no, they hit the road to USC and played the Trojans really tight. And that's an incredible pitching staff they have over there. They only mustered up 3 runs against the Trojans, but they held the Trojans to just 13 runs in 3 games. The pitching staff's been quite impressive so far for Rice. They swept Harvard in the other weekend series they had. Abilene Christian's, kind of been scattered all over the place. They did not look as great in the college baseball series weekend that they played last weekend against Texas State and Creighton. And then the other 2 games or other 2 weekend series they played have been Summit League opponents, St. Thomas and Oral Roberts, where they won both series, but they did drop a game in both. I just think that Rice has impressed me a little bit more this season, and this has been 2 teams that I haven't gotten my eyes on a ton, but it should be closely contested. I'll take the Owls on the road to go in there and win 2 of 3, and that's my only road pick of the weekend, JP.
Yeah, I was gonna take the Owls, but I have to go against you at least one more time since we've picked the same thing other than Louisiana and DBU. And looking at Abilene Christian's schedule, they're coming off. They're coming off a pretty good week. I know it's the best 1-3, a really good 1-3 week. Friday they lost 5-4 to Texas State. Saturday they won 12-11 against Creighton, and then Sunday they lose 3-0 against Texas State, and in the midweek they lose 7-6, blow that game against TCU. Okay, 2-3, and then beat Stephen F. Austin 20-10 on Wednesday. I'm going against you, Bieniek. I'm fading you, and I'm going with Abilene Christian at home here.
I love it.
Yeah.
I'll take on the challenge. Somebody's going 6-0, somebody's going 5-1, and I have a good feeling I know who both of them is going to be. And that gets us to the final slide of the day, which we're just going to go through our small card for this, what we coined the worst college baseball weekend slate of the year in weekend 4 here. Your best bets. Do you have a money line parlay for the people? Speaking of, at the top of the show, I said I did not. I'm going to currently craft one right now behind the scenes. But you go ahead and shoot your shot here.
Okay, I do have one. Auburn, I respect Winthrop's 10 wins, but Marciano at home, this was opened at -325, which I thought was just a little bit too low and kind of jumped out to me as a really good parlay piece. And then Michigan State, I know they opened eyes against Louisville, but since then they've been really, really bad. And my Huskers, dude, my Omaha Huskers have been playing really competitive, honestly. I know it was kind of a tough series in Auburn and tough couple losses in Globe Life as well. But I think this is a pretty solid squad, and they've shown me enough to believe in them. So one of my hammer plays for tomorrow is Auburn and Nebraska at -135.
I like
next
it.
hammer
I like
play.
the Auburn look there with Marciano against Winthrop, who's maybe stacked a couple of wins and cooked the books here, but Michigan State's dropped like a rock in water after the Louisville series win.
Yeah, I think the Huskers are just finally getting back at home too. They've been on the road for a while, and I think that might fire them up a little bit.
Yeah.
But yeah, my next hammer is Coastal Moneyline. I think if I wasn't in the stadium, it would just be either a normal play or just an underplay. But I'm in the stadium, so I'm all over the chance. My I do have another money line parlay, a little bit smaller, not a hammer pick. Is I'm sticking with Auburn again, and then I am pairing them with TCU at home against Tulane. I just feel like this is a team that's been skidding a little bit, but they've shown me enough early, and they have enough talent for me to back them here. Obviously, not like a 2 to 3 unit play, but enough for me to back them with a unit. And then other than that, I have Louisiana money line plus 150 at DBU. I have La Tech money line plus 100 at South Alabama. And I have one more. Georgia State money line plus 100. And then, I will be looking particularly to take Cal Poly, Hawaii under, Coastal ECU under, Jacksonville under, and then, throw Oregon State in there too. That's just an automatic underplay with Dax Whitney on the mound right now. And their lineup not hitting. I'll throw that, it's been a great play the past couple Fridays. So depending on what it's at, it's definitely giving it a look.
Yeah. I like a couple of the unders that we shouted out throughout the pod. The two sides that I landed on for the show, Notre Dame minus 140, Georgia State plus 100, two of the first games that we talked about. And then the money line parlay that I've just been building behind the scenes. We're gonna talk about some Big 12 conference play, or Big 10 conference play beginning this weekend. I'll agree with you. I'll co-sign the Nebraska leg. Fun fact, I won't go in too much of the matchup. You kind of already touched on it. Fun fact, the last time these two teams played, do you remember what happened? I know you watch ball, but this is really out of right field per se.
I do not.
Parker Pico dropped a fly ball that would have ended Nebraska. They would have lost the game against Michigan State, not gotten into the Big Ten tournament semifinals, and then ultimately not won the tournament, not gained the auto bid to get in the NCAA tournament. So, there was a drop fly.
Was this in 24?
No, last year in the Big Ten tournament.
Okay.
This was a heartbreaker for sure. No, Michigan State had Nebraska beat, and then Nebraska went on to rattle off, I think it was 3 or 4 more wins afterwards. So, quite the turn of events there for Cornhuskers fans. I'll take that leg. The second leg is actually going to be UCLA at Ohio State for me. I'll take the Bruins there. So this game, actually, the weather's not supposed to be too bad here in the Midwest. Last year, USC visited Michigan in the month of March too, and they played in 70-degree weather. The Bruins are dodging a bullet here. They're not playing in 30-degree weather. They're getting 65 and sunny against Ohio State. So I don't think that's going to bother the Cali boys too much. Give me UCLA there on Friday against the Buckeyes. And then how about this one? Mark Wasikowski returning back to the scene of the crime. He spent 3 seasons at Purdue, Oregon, heading down to West Lafayette. And both of these teams have played extremely well compared to preseason expectations so far this year. I'll take Oregon just to have some fun. And I thought that storyline's great. So they looked good in the weekend, one Friday, Saturday in the Las Vegas Classic, and I'll add them to this parlay. Those 3 teams in the Big Ten come out to minus 111. So I think that's a pretty good trio.
Fun fact, Coach Waz at Purdue was my first scholarship offer in high school.
There we go.
He's kind of an intimidating dude. At least it may have been like I don't know if it was just my first run around things, first visit or whatever, but he definitely struck some fear into me from a young age. That's for sure.
The man, I met him in person last year when Oregon played at East Lansing, and he's got a sort of confident strut. Is the way that I can explain
his demeanor is just no bullshit. And I think the season before I was when I was on campus, they had won like 10 or 11 games the season prior. And I mean, he was still giving me the full pitch. And he did turn around. Like they got
Yeah,
better for sure when he
he
was
built
there.
that program up from the ground a little bit.
Yeah, it was actually like a 10-win season, I'm pretty sure, like, either his first year or the year before he got there.
Funny story too. Oregon was loaded last year. They lose Friday night to Joe Jerwa 2-1, I believe it was. Saturday, they respond in a big way. They blow out Michigan State. It was like 12-2, something like that. But they played a full 9 innings. They actually kicked the ball around a little bit defensively. Waz made them run sprints, pulls, after winning 12-2 on the road at Michigan State after losing the Friday night game to the Ace.
That's great. That's good
But that
stuff.
will do it for this episode of the College Baseball Experience. Thank you all for tuning in for an hour and a half on this, less than appealing slate for weekend number 4. But we had some fun. We hope you enjoy, and we hope you earn a little bit of money from some of the angles and analysis that we gave out today. That's the best thing. And also tune into the World Baseball Classic. We only get this once every 4 years, depending on the scheduling of it. And there's plenty of teams. We talked about it a little bit at the top that are featuring college stars formerly. Travis Bazzana went deep last night. That was fantastic for Australia, and an upset win over Chinese Taipei, aka Taiwan. And there's 8 games today, so I'm going to be locked in on the WBC along with college baseball. You can follow JP and his podcast over at headfirst_pod on social media. You can follow me at NoahB77_. This has been the College Baseball Experience. You better start thinking about yours. And we are out of here. Not the music I'm playing, but whatever.